go. Bum, 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 bum. Welcome to Doomcast. My name is Charlie McGrath. My co-founder is Doug Owen. This is Doomcast number 47. Welcome to the program, everybody. We are a belated Doomcast this week. It's Thursday, the 26th day of June 2014. I'm excited for this hour. I've got a lot to vent about tonight. If you're listening live in the chat room, thank you very much. You're probably at Wide Awake News in that chat room. If you're listening on YouTube or some other platform, YouTube that I want to bitch about tonight. Google that I want to bitch about tonight. Anyway, let me get the website. Our website is doomcast.com. Our YouTube, we have a YouTube channel? No, it's Krabby Dog Tricks. We post everything there. Our Twitter handle is the
Doomcast Show.
Yeah, Doomcast Show. Sorry, I'm all flustered, Doug. I'm sorry, man. I'm dealing with.
You're not being your regular news presenter self.
I just got done with.
You sound
the
like
power.
a human being. You don't sound like one of these Japanese new. What do they have? The teleprompter readers.
Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Does that mean I normally sound like that, like a teleprompter reader?
No.
My name is Charlie McGrath. This is Doomcast. Doomcast number 47. Doomcast.com.
You do better than some people, though. To be quite honest, I mean, we have the great. Where's? I'm trying to find where's Charlie? Where'd it go? Something. There we
something
go.
Wrong?
Sharpton. No, it's Sharpton.
Oh boy.
We must, and we will much about that be committed.
Be more committed to Doomcast, for God's sakes.
Mushmouth mother.
It sounded good in his ears.
Listen, I am committed. What are you talking about? I love Doomcast. We're gonna have
recommit
fun.
yourself to the doom.
I'm so doomy right now. I can't even talk about it. I can't even get into it.
Bloodletting doomy tonight.
Here's the deal. Google sucks. Let me tell you that right now. I am to the point where, I think we have like 17 or 18,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I love YouTube. I mean, I make commentary videos, a lot of great response, a lot of 1,000 plus videos up there, and then the folks who co-host with me at Wide Awake News, I post their stuff up there, and I made a commitment, Doug, and this is your fault, by the way. I made a commitment because people were, having an issue with the banners popping up, advertising on them. So I'm like, okay,
right? The complaint department, sure.
Yeah, complaint department. So I started uploading the videos and not putting advertising on them, and then just put a message. If you want to support Wide Awake News, here's a link. If you want to support Doomcast, blah, 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 here's a link. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's the deal. Google is taking over the world. They are taking over the world.
Not if I have anything to say about it, Charlie McGrath.
Good luck. They own everything. They copy. If you put anything in your presentation whatsoever that their algorithms pick up, they think potentially could be some kind of copyright issue, bam, you're done. And it isn't that you're done. You just have to go through. You have to beg the man in order to post your crap, and it's very frustrating. Gabe Elton did a great program last night, and I sat there and I uploaded it. And I don't know, because it's got 10 seconds of some song in it somewhere in a commercial in one of the breaks. I've been fighting him all day long to try to get this thing posted. So I made a decision, Doug Owen.
Right. Okay.
My decision is this: I am getting rid of anything that intro music, anything that might be considered. I sent a message to Jeff Rentz today saying, look, I don't care if it's a damn drum roll intro. I don't care if it's just a one single tone. I'm done. I'm done trying to please Google in their ever watchful eye. Look at how well this could be used to control information. I mean, they could shut crap down at a heartbeat for nothing, for no reason whatsoever. You've had problems with them too, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's my intro. There's my intro.
That's it. Here comes Charlie McGrath on his horse, riding in.
Yeah. No, I got it. Here's my intro. Here's what it's going to be. I thought this might be cool.
Okay.
Just for
I got one for you.
That I guarantee you won't post that because they would flag it. Here it is. That's it. 2 minutes of that. Think they copyright that? Think they'd flag that?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Sounds a lot like Metallica to me.
Sick of them. Sick of Google. I'm sick of their googly ways.
Just get yourself quit being cheap. Spend $15. Get yourself a freaking intro song that is not copywritten, and just move on with your life.
Well,
and move into the Matrix and just accept the new reality, and that is that everybody's so hypersensitive about any kind of music. Oh, it's all about the artist. It's all about the artist not getting paid and blah 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 blah.
It's control, man. I'm telling you, it's control mechanism.
Well, I don't know about that, but what it's doing, it's because it's cover your ass, CYA. People are coming after YouTube. Not that I'm the defender here for Google or anything that they do, but quite honestly, if you look at the legal department, any corporation, they have to look at local laws. I mean, Google is forgetting people. Have you heard about this?
Nope.
In Europe, there is a new law where if you request, Google has to forget you. Now, of course, that sounds great, right? The internet will forget Charlie McGrath. You can go back into the Matrix. You can
plug back in.
You can plug back in, delete all of your YouTube videos, all of your anti-establishment,
anti-man
rants. And
I'm doing it.
Take the blue pill and jump back into the Matrix, and Morpheus will release you. God
bless Morpheus.
But think about the people that really want to be forgotten. Those are the bad guys. Those are politicians.
So wait a minute. What's the moral of the story? I mean, Google can forget me. So give me more.
If you ask Google now, they're sending out requests, and this is part of their compliance legally with new laws in Europe that make it possible for people like Tony Blair and other war criminals to be forgotten.
Yeah.
We already know that intelligence agencies, the people that control the message, the CIA and others that are interested in, keeping the status quo, and really, that's their job. We know they're on Wikipedia. They're in every big newsroom across the nation, and I don't even know if that's necessary to have a liaison or just that go-to guy on your TV show for the news presenters out there. Not you, Charlie McGrath, but anyway, I mean, just looking at the control aspect of it. But I think it's not a big deal to just find my own music. I mean, you're doing something with Boiling Frogs Post, and I imagine you have to comply there, and when you're using a free service, this is one of the problems with the centralization, and why what we do with Spreaker is we pay for the audio storage and the streaming and the distribution.
It feels like you're telling me to quit my whining.
No, but I mean, I think it's a cautionary tale. I mean, it's a platform, it's something that you can build upon, but you have to take ownership, and if you allow Google or Facebook or any other centralized agent of the man to control to be your control. I mean, a perfect example: Twitter could throw me off one day, and I would lose the 30,000 plus Twitter followers. And
wow, you have that many? You have that many followers?
I have 32, according to Twitter. And half of these people are probably not even real; they're probably bots. But 32,500 and some odd.
Wow,
470. You're
a superstar. You're
but I mean, not really.
Well,
because when I put something out there, I can quantify and check how many people actually click it. I don't do it often, but when I do, it's for 32,000 people following you, getting 10 clicks. It's
It starts. You start to wonder.
Underwhelming, to say the least.
What's the value in it when you? And you're right. I mean, there are. You could do that on YouTube. I can pay a bunch of money and have 40,000 subscribers inside of a. We can
actually stream this and actually do a Google Hangout. But it's just I don't know.
Well, I shouldn't. I guess I shouldn't. I guess you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You talk because I wasn't talking or anything.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. I shouldn't complain. I mean, I just very frustrated because it seems like in the last 24 hours I've spent like 5 of them trying to resolve stupid crap. And it's easy. I mean, you can edit. I can edit a program. I can edit a radio program so that there's nothing in it except the host. Right? I can sit there and edit it out, the intro music. I can edit out the commercials. I can, and make sure that it's absolutely pristine. But this is all very time consuming, and I don't have the time. I don't have the time to do it, so I get frustrated with Google. And let's face it, they're making money off of everybody. They're making, and everybody has to deal with them, because you don't go to a website without having, AdSense pop up and slap you in the face.
Well, and they want to keep that money. They don't want it to go out in lawsuits, and lawyers don't come after us for libel lawsuits for calling people like Nancy Pelosi a whore. Now, if Glenn Beck did that, or somebody else that was very, very popular that had money, then lawyers would actually be interested in libel cases. Doug Owen, Charlie McGrath, we don't have anything, and by the time you pay your lawyer, I don't know what you're going to get out of us, and you're not going to be able to prove there was impact. So, lawyer up if you got the cash, but it's going to be a waste.
We got a little bit of cash, and I'll name one of them now. Alfred S. Thanks to Alfred S., we got $25 that we didn't have last week.
$25, not too bad.
Right.
I guess we should mention a few other supporters. Danish Doomer Dude, Dan, gave us $20.
Wow.
And
I love the name.
Yeah. He said he was AKA the Danish Doomer Dude. So I was like, I can easily remember that. And had a nice little note there. And we got 2333. Excuse me, hold on. There we go. From Jake, AKA Tuna Melt, who has a pretty interesting video that I don't think that we can really. It's great to watch, but gun safety. Well, not so much. It's really him and a bunch of his buddies partying, cooking, and shooting guns in Alaska, which looks like a great time. So, quite honestly, I would check it out. It's on Doomcast.com.
I was going to say, do you have it posted? I want to see that.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for that. Thank you for that support. We got this one I love, Dan K. And Dan, this is your verification, because he asked me to verify that we got this. And Dan K, and maybe I should give where we at, Dan? Oh, this is Denmark. Is this the same?
That's Dan, the Danish Doomer Dude.
Oh, okay. He's just Dan K. But he wrote a message. I will help with $20 a month. Please confirm that you received the donation, and is set up as a monthly donation. Wow. That's a great idea, Triple D.
Yeah, we need to get your sister getting us more subscription buttons. I don't have the ability to create those. So, yeah, we should get some recurring subscriptions. I see those all the time, and I think that's a great way for people to do it. And they can kind of donate and forget. And I know that we pay and some of the other, services do that. So. Oh, my God. How long have we been talking? I'm sorry, Doomer audience. We're 15 minutes into this thing, and I realize we're that many minutes into it. You can rant and rave, Charlie McGrath. This is your hour. We do this every week, and the people out there.
Well, here's what I want to talk about. I just finished, Doug, you know that I have a weekly program on the Boiling Frogs Post called On Point with me, your host, Charlie McGrath.
Were you on point tonight?
I was on. I had I did 2 this week because you probably know Ross Caputi. You heard that name before?
It sounds familiar.
Ross Caputi is a Marine Corps veteran who made a documentary called "Fear Not: The Path of Truth," and his story is that he was involved in the Second Siege of Fallujah. He was in the Battle of Fallujah, and the carnage that ensued. And when he got out of the Marine Corps, it really bothered him. And when he was in the Marine Corps, it still bothered him. But the happenings that went on caused him to dig into it, and he ended up making this 1.5-hour documentary, it blew me away. I could not stop watching it. And when I did, I had to have him on and talk to him. And Fear Not: The Path of the Truth is the name of the documentary, everybody, and check it out. But the story of Fallujah in 2004 is such a microcosm for where we're at now, and this fear model that is used on the people of this country to facilitate, promote, endorse murder. It's very apropos to. It was very apropos to our current situation.
Yeah, and just this week, there was new news about the depleted uranium being used in Baghdad. I guess the renewed interest in Iraq, considering what's happening with ISIS on the ground, and the next wave of proxy wars that are playing out as a way to move towards Syria. I think ultimately is the goal here. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Actually, let me just pull this up because it's apropos. It is. Consortium News, John LaForge writes, over the past 24 years, the massive damage that the U.S. has inflicted on Iraq's population, infrastructure, and environment includes the residue from American depleted uranium weapons that can cause cancer and other illnesses. Interestingly enough, did you know this, Charlie McGrath? You can Google it for yourself or use your own search engine. The cleanup, they went to the different places in Iraq and actually took the sand, cleaned up, and brought the depleted uranium-tainted sand back to the United States. I think they brought it to Michigan for decontamination. So it's one of these stories. I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory, and now I think the sinister aspect was that the government knew full well what the impact of depleted uranium would be. Dr. Doug Rourke and other whistleblowers pointed to the horrible ecological and environmental catastrophe that they created. So it just amazes me because, I mean, as much as you look at the sinister aspect of it, you still see politicians, U.S. politicians like John McCain and others, standing on the rubble where they've just shot one of these depleted uranium rounds. So Dick Cheney drinks Diet Sprite. That's what I'm trying to say. These people are not necessarily all there, but anyway.
One thing that was found actually in Fallujah when they did sample testing is not only depleted uranium but enriched uranium, which is kind of freaky. But the result of the use of these kind of weapons is you have a birth defect rate of 14.5% in Fallujah, where you take a country like Japan, for example, has about a 1% birth defect rate. So very glaring evidence that that we've created an ecological nightmare inside of Iraq, and not just Iraq. I mean, all of in the Middle East where we're raging and Cajun war, and it's just going to keep going on. And you mentioned John McCain, all for the next round against ISIS or Syria or both or whatever.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of a character assassination going on against John McCain. I'm not a John McCain sympathist or enabler in any way, shape, or form. But did you see the selfies with him and the ISIS terrorists? The fact that the media has been picking up on this, and some of the things that he said lately, about how the Barack Obama regime is empowering and giving aid and weaponry to Al-Qaeda terrorists. So ultimately, the goal and why we've spent over $3 trillion, probably reaching the $4 trillion area of cash, and not to mention all the blood that is spilled in Iraq, was for the eradication of Al-Qaeda, which is only metastasized like a tumor to the point where, you've got people putting videos of these terrorists up with their new U.S. taxpayer-funded Humvees, and I mean, it's almost surreal. Did you hear what Dick Cheney said this week? Pretty provocative stuff about martial law and what is coming, what's going to happen. And did you hear this?
Well, I heard him say that we're going to have an attack worse than 9/11. I mean, he's on.
I've got him here. Let's just start, and then. Because I thought that there was something actually a little bit more interesting in what he said. Most of the people focused on just the terror attack and the potential for it to happen very soon in the next 10 years. Here we go. Damn you!
Do you think we get through this decade without a massive attack on the homeland?
I doubt it. I think there will be another attack. And the next time, I think it's likely to be far deadlier than the last one.
You
can imagine what would happen if somebody could smuggle a nuclear device, put it in a shipping container, and drive it down the Beltway outside Washington, D.C.
By the way, if that were to happen, do you see the government reconstituting? Because it would have to be military rule for a period of time, at least.
Well, there was some years ago a program called the Continuity of Government Program. It was part of the Cold War strategy that we pursued here, and it involved having a government in waiting, if you will, ready to go in the event of a nuclear attack on the United States, so that we could always maintain the constitutional-based governmental authority. I was part of that program for several years.
So anyway, he talks about the shadow government, which they instituted after 9/11, and basically the consolidation of the executive, and you can look into it. National Security Presidential Directive 51, NSPD 51 is another glaring example. But interesting to note that the media did not talk about continuity of government or, martial law, military rule.
Well, who was that interviewing? Do you know?
Hugh Hewitt, the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Okay. Well, he's certainly been. Well, first of all, continuity.
And you mentioned that. Okay. Just to interrupt you one more time before I forget, because that's the only reason I do it, Charlie McGrath, for the sake of brevity. I wonder. This guy seemed to be coached with this question.
Yes.
And wouldn't martial law happen, Charlie McGrath?
That's what I was going to say. Is it sounded like he was like, let me. Oh, yeah, and martial. Like he was a. Do you think it's an Illuminati
yes.
let you know event? We're going to come out and talk about nukes, and then bam, we're going to within 10 years, and boom, we're going to see it, and we're going to see martial law, and we're going to see the dismantling of government in D.C. and go to this covert continuity of government plan somewhere under the Denver International Airport.
Yes. I mean, that sounds far-fetched to a lot of probably people, passers-by, but I absolutely believe it. I mean, here's Joe Biden just a few months ago.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
Oh, really?
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. It's here. It's completely here. Why there has got to be a reason why Cheney is on this tour. He's on every frickin' news program that you turn on, it seems like, promoting his theory, I guess, or do you think it's just a case?
He's on behalf of working on behalf of some of the most empowered and profitable companies that are invested in war, that have financialized war to the extent of making billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars ultimately. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why he's on there, and of course the media wants to talk to Dick Cheney. He's been pretty quiet. I mean, we've heard nothing from Bush. Right. In retrospect, and looking at him when he did the ceremony on at his presidential library opening,
right,
and the guy crying when he talked about the troops that had died in Iraq. I think he was sincere. Dick Cheney, this is the guy. This is the guy that created and worked to create the shadow government. He's the one that basically instituted the playbook that they initially used, him and Bush Sr., in Panama with the toppling of Noriega, which was pretty easy. And, of course, that was just out of Iran-Contra and trying to empower U.S. interests to counter Nicaragua. So it worked pretty well, I guess, by military standards. It was effective. They were able to go in, knock out the media, knock out communications, install a dictator, a new continuity government, interim government, and, here we are today, and you can look at Panama for what it is, and basically they tried the same thing in Iraq. And that did not work well. And Dick Cheney, of course, himself, I mean, his own words are the indictment, because he was well aware of the consequences of destroying the central government. And we've seen in every case where the U.S. has intervened and upset and destroyed the central government system, chaos it has ensued.
Yeah.
Iraq, Afghanistan, now the Ukraine.
So you got to ask
Syria.
yourself. You got to ask yourself. I know you do, and I do. But if you're average Joe Sixpack, look, it is. If you don't see that this is completely by design, then you're not even. I mean, you can't even fog up a mirror, man. I mean, you're right, Doug. It is the same thing over and over again. You go in, destabilize, and then you have, decades of anarchy. At least destabilization at the very, very best, just to destabilize a region. And it's completely 100% by design because it makes a malleable region of the world for these corporate special interests to go in and dominate, period. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that some people are kind of... am I blowing up the computer here? What's happening?
I don't know. It was a weird little boop. Maybe Dick Cheney's trying to call you.
Oh, I don't know. I see that we're still
Maybe
streaming.
I do
Stop
want
talking about Dick Cheney right now.
Yeah, stop. Move on. I do want to talk about. You mentioned Ukraine, and I want to get into that too in a little bit. But let's not just skip over ISIS real quick here. And you talked about how old McCain had some pictures with ISIS, and it's not the first time. I mean, he's got pictures with Al Nusra. And he's put his, around these guys talking about how they're the freedom fighters of Syria and everybody should get behind him and support these efforts. I find it interesting. Just before the program, you and I were talking, and here we are about to dump some more aid into the rebels, so-called rebels in Syria. But I mean, it's like we cannot F this region of the world up fast enough. We can't foment anger and hostility and death and war fast enough, it seems to me.
Well, yeah, and I think that the narrative. I mean, number one, when you have people like Megyn Kelly grilling Dick Cheney, calling him a liar, you realize, okay, immediately this is all staged. And if you don't realize that, and you think this is just organic, rhetoric or maybe a way to get ratings, let me tell you, you don't just talk crap to Dick Cheney on Fox News and get away with it. Just ask his lawyer buddy that went hunting with him. I mean, this guy can get away with murder real easily.
Has done it.
He has the blood of hundreds of thousands of people on his hands. And don't think the people on the Beltway and in the Fox news stations across the globe don't know it, especially Central Casting there. But anyway, I mean, if you look at what the ultimate goal is, and that is to empower friends and allies and to destabilize and to make rubble of the enemies, to consolidate regional power and to shore up energy resources, and mostly the goal is to, of course, keep the Russians out and keep the Chinese at bay. And so we're kind of seeing the trifecta, the trilateralist agenda playing out in the Middle East. And that's why it's a huge proxy war, and that's why it's so tragic, because the U.S. government has continued to fund all of these religious zealot groups that are ideologues. I mean, we can go back to Zbigniew Brzezinski. I can't even say his name, and I don't know if...
Close enough.
Zbig. We've got pictures of him and video of him giving AK-47s to the Mujahideen and telling them that God is with them. So, just a parallel with John McCain, who has, stood on the soapbox alongside Nazis in the Ukraine, and he's an on-the-ground guy. Victoria Nuland, she is on the ground, and of course, you have the whole PNAC nexus, and that's something that I think we shouldn't gloss either. Where is this coming from, the ideology, the war factory or terror factory, as I like to call it? You've got the Kagans, you've got Petraeus, and of course you've got Hastings, which is an interesting triad of people. So Victoria Nuland is married to Robert Kagan. His brother, Frederick Kagan, is the guy who came up with and devised the failed surge in Iraq. So this is out of the same group. Of course, Robert Kagan is a part of foreign policy. He's a commentator there. He works at the Brookings Institute. He is one of the people that came through, one of the academics that called for the catalyzing event to reshape this country. So this is something that, if he wasn't directly involved in, he sees as a very advantageous way to academically shift the political debate, if you want to church it up. He's part of the CFR. He's one of those guys. And, his brother is Frederick Kagan. Of course, his wife is Victoria Nuland. And these guys are really close. Frederick Kagan and Robert Kagan were both hired by General Petraeus to come up with new strategies and a new policy plan for the Middle East. Now, here's the big problem, and it's not to talk about Zog or the Zionist-occupied government, but you have people like the Kagans that are diehard neocons, and they are very sympathetic to allies they see as allies, and they're probably brethren, really, at the end of the day, in Israel. So their agenda has been very anti-Muslim. I mean, Eric Prince, founder of Blackwater, we talked about Costello's group last week. Right. But he said, and I quote, that this is a modern-day crusade. And I think that that's really playing out. So a lot of people can't wrap their mind around the policy and why it is so destructive and why it continues to fail. But when you look at these people and how much influence that they have directly with military action at the highest level, and then, of course, the whole scandal and with General Petraeus. Interestingly enough, one of the few people tapping into that world was the journalist Michael Hastings. Now, Michael Hastings is no longer with us. His car mysteriously blew up, and the engine flew backwards, and this is a whole other show, but very advantageously was shut up and did not reveal too much about this very interesting power play that's taking place here. And this is really the guiding factor. And Dick Cheney's one of the crew. He's part of the neocon terror factory as well. So,
are you? All that being said and true, and I agree with everything you just said. Mm-hmm. The military-industrial complex and their minions are running amok and designing and continuing to design and engineer the next big thing in killing. And my question I have for you is on the subject of ISIS or ISIL. Do you think that Baghdadi is he got a little bit of conditioning when he was in Camp Boca? And,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the MK Ultra terror factory where they stick chips in those guys and send them out. And I mean, I don't know what really happens, but if they're not brainwashed with the torturing and they're not completely controlled, I don't see them just letting all of these people out of Gitmo. And ironically, the people that they have released from Gitmo end up orchestrating attacks against our consulate office in Benghazi,
right.
But I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Each one of these guys that they've let go just happens to, be one of the I guess most witty and stealthy terrorists that you could imagine. I mean, and, even that being said, I mean, the narrative itself is somewhat unbelievable, but some of the commentary, about how these guys could get their hands on nuclear weapons. I mean, give me a break. I mean, who's going to, facilitate that? And if that is true, if that's really a risk, then why are we selling so many weapons to our enemies? I mean, you almost have to expect that these weapons and Humvees and billions of dollars in cash are going to go missing, that are going to fall into the terrorist hands.
Cha-ching! I mean, obviously that is a known a known result, right? It's blowback.
At least.
Blowback at least, or outright conspiracy at worst.
At worst. Well, we have a couple Supreme Court rulings and a new memo, a new revelation as to why we have extrajudicial assassinations and why it's legal for Obama to
why
do this.
Why it's cool to kill Americans.
They cite the Israeli Supreme Court, ironically. So talking about Israel and some of the sympathizers over there, Anwar al-Awlaki, he was a crap talker. I mean, he was an imam. He was somebody who actually ate dinner at the State Department. So think about that.
And let's not forget, an American.
And his son was killed in a cafe in Yeoman, and he was assassinated. He was targeted. He wasn't collateral damage. He wasn't just near another target.
Right.
He was targeted himself, and he had done nothing. He's just guilt by association.
He did get a promotion once they murdered him. They promoted him to head of recruiting in the Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, or whatever title they wanted to slap on him. But it was a promotion after they killed him. And you mentioned his son also killed. And let's not forget, it wasn't like a drone strike went awry and killed al-Awlaki and then killed with his son at the same time. It was 2 weeks later that they killed his 16-year-old son. And these are U.S. citizens. I mean, they're Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if you've checked out I tried to unpack and analyze the kill memo, and of course it's just lots of legal precedences, and so much of it's blacked out that it's almost kind of pointless. The first 12, 13 pages are completely redacted. So, the Supreme Court said it's okay. And I mean, if you look at Israel, if that is the metric or the bar, I mean, and I'm not even a big fan of the UN, but the UN is, even John Kerry is calling them an apartheid state. When John Kerry says that you're torturous and you're an apartheid state, I mean, you got to be really bad, because he does business with some pretty horrible people at the end of the day. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're the scum of the scum when John Kerry, takes his big head and wobbles it towards you.
Oh, doesn't he just? Have you been watching him on his? Right now he's on a pro usurp the freedom of the people of Ukraine mission. He's in Europe right now, but he was in the Middle East trying to drum up support for whatever next action is going to happen inside of Iraq. But
giving all the money to the terrorist regime that has taken over Egypt, and giving them money, and al-Sisi. Yeah,
well, my point was, though, that when I see him on television, he looks clay, like he's fake.
It's because he shoots Botox into his face, and he is fake, and he's a liar.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's not a good one, and he's definitely no Hillary Clinton. I miss Hillary Clinton's State Department. The world feared us for a moment when Hillary Clinton was at the State Department.
You know why?
Because she kills people?
She came, she saw, she dies. Wait a minute. she what was the line? We came, we saw, he died?
So, I think it was something like that. Let's see.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
And, of course...
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
So...
Yeah, and her future is looking questionable as far as 2016. Her book is absolutely falling through the floor.
Crap, nobody's watching. I think they've overhyped it. They've been hyping it for so long. I mean, I hate to step into the political commentator role that is.
It's just old, man. It's the same. Kerry, Clinton.
I mean,
Bush.
we have a modern day dynasty. We have these oligarchs that just won't leave, and she's so easy. She lies all the time. I mean, remember when she last 2008 when she ran, or I guess it might have been 2012 when she was saying that she was shot at in Lebanon and she was ducking bullets, and
it's
like, well, that's
I had to spiral land in. Yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah, a little revisionist history, and she's just not. She's just got so many demons in her closet. If the Republicans and the controlled Republican media, if there is such a thing, or the right wing can't completely dissect everything that she's done and indict her for things beyond even her defense. I mean, one of the things I hate about politics and the Beltway and the people on the Hill is they're all politicians and they're all lawyers.
Right.
And so, she's defended a few kitty diddlers in her day and got some pretty horrific people off. So, and that's kind of a double entendre. She's got a lot of evil people.
I know she's got one evil dude off quite often.
Yeah, and some other people have probably felt that wrath. Crouching intern, hidden cigar.
That's the deal. Listen, I want to talk to you right now.
Yes.
About the Ukraine.
Okay, talk about the Ukraine.
Here's the deal. Tomorrow is the end of the ceasefire, and I've been on record for the last week, especially since the Chocolate King announced this ceasefire and the way he announced it.
Yes.
This situation it's basically not in our establishment media, but this is going to turn, I believe. Now, if you went to wherever, CNN or whatever, they would tell you that it's it's calming down because
Choco rations are up. Go back to sleep, citizen.
Everything's fine. Yeah. Tomorrow, here's the prediction, and we'll be able to do the crow sound maybe next week. Tomorrow, all hell is going to break loose with the separatists versus the Ukrainian forces. Look, they have announced that they're going to decimate these people. They're going to absolutely destroy them if they don't just bend over and capitulate on tomorrow's date, the Friday cutoff, the 27th of June. And just coincidentally, it happens to be the same day where the people of Ukraine are going to get signed into indentured servitude to the International Monetary Fund and the EU. It's all coming to a head tomorrow. So it's going to be a very, very interesting day for me.
That's what I hear. That's what I think that's going to be. So anyway, yeah, I mean, the Ukraine is, I think it's being torn apart, and what happens in the East is going to be very interesting. Is Vladimir Putin going to continue to, by proxy, feed into the militarization and some of the militias and other separatist groups that are there on the ground?
Yes.
And maybe is he going to continue to arm?
I don't think he has a choice. I just don't think he has a choice. I think he, if he's not part of this, I
just don't see that being really an end game for Vladimir Putin. I don't think that it's really that advantageous. If anything, you don't want a terrorist state right there. But, I think it's more meta than that when it comes to what's happening in the Ukraine. I mean, it's about it's about creating problems for Russia, but. You can have a pretty destabilized, crazy border, and for the most part, things won't seemingly be a problem. I mean, look at our borders. I mean, we have third world status borders, uncontrollable, the same problem that Jordan has, the same problem that Syria has, the same problem that Iraq has. We have that problem as well, and that is that we cannot control our southern border. They can't control their other, eastern, western borders, but we can't control our southern border. We have a humanitarian crisis that has only been, the whole FEMA camp usage and military camps that they're putting for these people are. I don't want to be the FEMA camp. Steve Quayle. They're on the border. They're taking us to the FEMA camps. So you're getting on the train, kind of guy. Not that nothing against him, but it's just one of those memes.
He lives here.
Really? Well, I'm surprised. Montana. That's where all the crazy militiamen live.
There are Texas.
There are Texas. I know some of them,
and we are guilty of that. So how are you seeing? I mean, you are there in Texas. For those that don't know,
yeah.
Are you seeing this FEMA camp situation?
Well, no. I mean, it's happening in a lot of different holding places, but mostly right along the border. There's other. I don't know the logistics, but yeah, I mean, you don't see that. I mean, there's a population of almost 2 million people where I live, so it's not. 60,000 people, even if you had all of them released onto the streets as they scurried away, probably wouldn't look. I mean, we have crazy stuff. Like we have these centers that are for immigrant labor because they get exploited, and You know, I mean, if you're some sicko and you just like killing people, it's really easy to pick up an illegal alien and, you know, hack them to death. So you have a lot of people that are, I mean, you know, there's people out there that just want to harvest their organs. I mean, that's one of the more insidious aspects is that you're bringing in a slave class of people that are going to displace the population. They're used to absolute corruption. They're used to the government abusing people. They are the type of people that will be just happy for about anything because it's proportionally better than where they come from. So, you know, those people are continually exploited, and, you know, how many of these children go missing? You know, how many of the Jimmy Savile types out there are just, you know, picking them up by the bunch and taking them off to God only knows where? You know, like that's what's so scary. I mean, you know, the fact that they're having to buy, the Department of Homeland Security's buying tons of underwear for obese people that, you know, are going to be forced. Welcome to America, people. We're going to give you amnesty, and now you're going to buy the Obamacare. They'll be like, okay. Well, you know, it's.
Well, I see the situation is being used. The situation is being used for more executive order. We did chat about that, the headline before the program tonight.
Boner is going to go after Obama. He's going to sue him. He's going to sue him for using executive authority. Talking about a sideshow.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is a sideshow. But this report is the White House is saying we're not just going to sit around and wait for Congress to write laws, which this is in reference to immigration. And you know,
why don't you just enforce the ones we have? That would, if you could start there, that might be a good place, and maybe we could actually, I don't know, put together a team of people to assess and you know, get a committee together and do all the things that politicians like to do when they're going to make an informed executive decision. I mean, that's what they do. But you know, if you enforce the few laws that we have, instead of all of the ones that are so arbitrary. I mean, they're so worried that somebody's going to, you know, smoke pot or, you know, a pot cookie or something ridiculous, you know, or God forbid somebody at a Dungeness farm is selling raw milk to their neighbor. Oh, you know, they've got a SWAT team for you. They got,
that ain't a lot.
You sell a joint to somebody, they've got 5,000 people to detain you. They'll bring helicopters and
look. It's all yeah.
But they can't go out. They can't go after anybody that's coming through the border. We can't do anything with that. We can't stop the terrorists.
Well, that's because it's meant to be.
Who's the target, Charlie McGrath? Who's the target?
You are the target, Doug Owen. We are the target. This country is. I mean, the people of this country are being led into this gulag state, and all these things are, you know, all these things are being used to help facilitate that. I mean, this border issue. I mean, come on, it's 2014. It's, you know, we have basically our government inviting these people that could bring up and drop off their kids. It's, you know, this is. You look around and you just see the decay of this, and just the decay of common sense, the decay of this country, and you got to ask yourself, how much longer is it going to keep going on before the security industrial complex and the military industrial complex have to be used on the populace, who's getting ever poorer and getting ever more desperate, while they sit back and watch an ever more corrupt elite class.
Well, I mean, what happens is most bad ideas kind of eat themselves up, and people may be on the hook and they may not be. I don't feel personally obligated to pay $51,000 for my young child because he owes that for Cheney's wars. So at some point, you know, it just becomes irrelevant. The state, and they're doing a damn fine job of becoming more and more irrelevant. I thought it was pretty interesting. This University of California professor, Daryl Y. Hamamoto. He said that the influx of illegal immigrants into the United States is part of a plan to create a new underclass of people who can be re-educated in order to create a subservient underclass. And you really think about that for a moment, it makes a lot of sense. And
it's what you just said. I mean, you know, that's I believe it.
Yeah, well, they're gonna go after this guy because he calls it the Hispanization of the U.S. and a way to bring in, and it's not just Hispanics. I mean, you have people from throughout Central and Southern America that are coming here and sending their children to here because apparently Joe Biden and Eric Holder have sent out invitation cards and told them there would be free cake and cotton candy at the FEMA camp. So.
You're sick.
I don't know if that's true, but
the world's just a real doomy, jacked up place, Doug Owen.
Is it? Man, I'm having deja vu. I'm really having deja vu at this moment.
Over what?
I just feel like we've had this conversation at some point before. That I've been here before. We've been talking about this issue, or maybe it's just.
Well, then let's talk about something different. Let's talk. Yeah, it's probably just a glitch in the matrix where we're repeating.
Okay, well, you want to let's make light of some of the CIA plans. Okay, one of the things that I've always found entertaining is the half-cocked ideas of the CIA, DARPA, and other people in government. And one of the things that I always look at is Operation Acoustic Kitty. Are you familiar?
Yes. Go ahead.
So, basically for the people that don't have Google, if you don't have Google, I'm sorry, but Operation Acoustic Kitty was basically they took a cat and they chopped him open, they put a microphone in him, and this is a grand idea to be able to spy on the Soviets, and they would have these MK Ultra kitty cats that would, have literal antenna tails that would be living, and they would just, chop them up and basically create, this Frankenstein kitty. And, it was just they hacked up a bunch of cats. They found some pretty wild people that thought that was a good idea. And the plan didn't go live or operational. It's just one of many crazy things. Operation Starfish, blowing up nuclear devices and hydrogen bombs in the atmosphere, not really, understanding or even caring about possible consequences. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened. I like this one, okay? The CIA decided to send out Osama bin Satan dolls. Did you hear about this story?
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, my God. So one of the half-cocked ideas was to get people to turn in bin Laden and to get them on the side of the U.S. And, I mean, talk about why we're not winning hearts and minds. They had these Osama bin Laden Satan dolls. I thought you didn't hear about this?
I didn't, but it's been Hell Week. So
all
go
right.
ahead.
Well, yeah. Let me see. Let me pull this up because I didn't actually link the article in my notes, but it's real. Let's see. I can just probably Google it. Satan doll. Come here. One more page. It has to be in the last 200 articles. Maybe not. Or maybe I can't spell Satan very well. Hold on. But you got to see these things. They're ridiculous. But these are the kind of things like, putting money into PBS and funding, the Pakistani Sesame Street. Deficit hawks wonder, well, why the hell are we paying for Pakistani CIA bin Laden?
I got it. I'm checking it out.
CIA doll.
Okay, I see it. And I do okay. I do remember seeing this now flash across with the red face. Looked like a Star Wars character. Almost.
Yeah, let's see. The CIA revealed it once considered creating and using a very different type of weapon in the fight against terrorism, a doll. Yeah. I mean, and it's just like, really? Did you really think about that? And it just amazes me. There's some guy that has a job, somewhere in a basement. It's like, I've got an idea. What are we going to do? We're going to give the kids Satan dolls. Oh, man, that's beautiful.
That will win their hearts and minds. That'll get them to our side.
It's a great idea. You've seen those videos where the troops are, just basically running roughshod over the people in Afghanistan and in Iraq and just throwing bottles of water at these children that are chasing the tanks because they're impoverished. And you're just like, wow.
I did that.
Really?
I threw bottles. Sure.
Candy
I was in Iraq
for the kids?
I threw MREs. I watched an old man. I mean, this was after the 60-plus days of air bombing, and it was an old man trying to pummel a young kid who was grabbing an MRE because the guy was hungry. He wanted that MRE. So I stopped doing it because I thought I was causing more trouble than I was helping.
Well, you just need two. You gotta give the kid one. And then,
Trust me, you need more than two. There was a few.
Well. Maybe you shouldn't have blown up the milk factories there, Charlie McGrath. I don't know.
Well, there was weapons of mass destruction. We had to get rid of them.
That's right. I forgot about that.
WMDs. Listen, Doug Owen, I got some sad news.
Do you?
Some doomy news.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
I think I've caused my dog to lose her hearing.
What, from shooting guns, screaming, from what?
Shooting guns. I took her. She's deaf as a post. She cannot hear anything. I feel horrible. I took her out to do little.
You sharing this, you're gonna get PETA on us before you know.
Listen,
they
there's
can get
more
the feds on you. There's a deaf dog. Hold on. We have 500 people to descend upon Charlie's house.
Yeah, I'm gonna get raided. Well, I took old Doomer Trixie. I took her out and just to go for a nice little walk in the hills and. She when I go shooting normally I put her in the car so she doesn't have to sit there and listen to the dealio. But apparently she was in the car. I don't know, but apparently it was just too much for her. So she don't hear anything.
She's
it's
probably
embarrassing.
just not listening to you and doesn't care anymore. She's become apathetic. The Doomcast has ruined her. She's listened to too many of these podcasts and just doesn't want anymore.
That could be it. But
hey, you know what? If you go to blacklistednation.com, you should do that right now, Charlie.
I'm doing it.
Go to blacklistednation.com. We've got a new item. Thanks to Craig, producer Craig. We have a new item for all of you.
Wait a minute. Is it? It's a shirt, right?
Yeah, it's a shirt.
It looks awesome. I love it. It's Democrat, Republican.
No, neither. Vote Doomcast 2016. Check mark. Yeah.
Yeah, Craig, again, always doing the yeoman's work. What does that mean?
You know, a yeoman in the Navy is
That's why I asked you.
He's a secretary, basically.
So yeoman's work is he's doing secretary work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of not nice.
The paperwork, the stuff that has to happen. So it's actually apropos.
You're not going to let me go, are you? With that, because I used apropos.
You just wanted to use apropos. I know.
I love the word apropos. It's a great word.
It is. It's apropos.
it's apropos indeed. What else you got in the news?
Oh, well, apparently there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the United States of America, and you've got.
Really? That's news.
I don't know. America becoming a nation of political enemies, the government at its all-time low as far as people favoring it.
I want to know where 7% get the gall to say the government's doing or Congress is doing a good job. Where are they? What are they doing? Who are these people?
They're crazy people.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, our government is so utterly
you know these people. I mean,
there's no way that they should be able to achieve a 7% approval rating. Go ahead.
I just think that some people probably mishear. They're half deaf, like your dog. That just they're like, huh? Oh yeah, B. Yeah, B. Do you think that the government is doing a good job, an okay job, an all right job, or an excellent job?
I guess I took 7% shooting, and now they're just.
I go with 3.
Oh God! Well, here's the deal. The more we go, this is 47. The more we go on, I'm almost numb to the idiocracy. Did you see that movie, The Idiocracy? That are.
Oh yeah, Mike Judge cult classic, great movie.
Idiocracy was awesome, absolutely awesome. Love that movie. Let me tell you what's.
I wish I had some clips from Idiocracy. I'll get you some.
We've got Bush.
We don't have Idiocracy.
He gets a knock on the door. I'm baiting.
Oh yeah.
It's a classic.
Ouch, my balls. That's what everybody's just watching, and they just have piles of trash because they're too stupid to realize that they should actually dispose of it.
They're feeding Gatorade to the plants because it's got electrolytes.
It's that or They Live that tops my cult classic films. I just watched portions of They Live again. I'm going to watch the full thing.
What was They Live? Tell me a quick plotline.
They Live is great. Okay, it's Rowdy Roddy Piper. Okay, remember him, the wrestler?
Absolutely.
Okay, he is the protagonist. He's the star of the show. and he gets the sunglasses that let him see reality. And the U.S. has been taken over by reptile gods that are these aliens. So there's an alien invasion, and they're using the magazines to propagandize people. So whenever he looks through the glasses, he sees the message is conform, consume, obey.
Oh my God! Yeah, and now I know what you're talking about. When they put the special glasses on, they can see the true nature, their true selves. Yes,
he's reading through an art book, and it says, don't be creative, conform, do not think outside of, so it's just basically all mind control. So once he sees that, it becomes a problem. He wants to go back into the Matrix, but he cannot, and he has to.
Wow!
I don't want to ruin the rest for you, but it's the
apropos.
It's the best movie that I think that they probably had a budget for under $1,000 to create ever.
I'm gonna have to read. I think I watched it once, and it's from the 70s, right? I think I watched it once a long time ago.
It's probably early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well worth watching again. It's so relevant. It's like 1984. It's just 30 years off.
Very apropos, Doug Owen.
Indeed.
The people of Poland feel like they have given oral sex to the U.S. and got nothing in return. Did you see this?
Yeah, not even a reach around. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Pretty funny. Yeah, the IMF is dicking everybody over, and the U.S. is pushing the Polish people, and they understand that they're being used as a launch pad.
Sure.
They've been in the mix, and I mean, think about this. I mean, you got disingenuous Joe Biden and his blue glowing teeth, and Kerry and crew there, basically telling you about all the wonderful things that Chevron's going to do for you, and it's I am sure it's a lot of indecent proposals and probably a lot of blah, blah, blah. I don't want to listen to the guy, and he doesn't have anything really to offer me. They're forced to listen to him because, Kerry has something that they may want. Actually,
well, I think at the time, it was they were negotiating. Well, the Polish PM or defense minister was all agush because we were going to put some troops on the ground. In a permanent footing, and also wanting to cozy up to NATO because of what was going on at that moment with Russia in Crimea. So they might be talking a little bit of smack, but they were all about getting the U.S. help. And I guess if they don't want to be treated like a prostitute, then they probably shouldn't act like one.
Well, I think one of the other things that's happening in the background, there's been a real effective front against TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and it's falling apart under its own weight. WikiLeaks actually released a really interesting plot that banksters love, and that is about global financial deregulation. Have you heard about TISA, the Trade and Services Agreement?
Yeah.
This is covering 50 countries, more than 68% of the world in service and trade. Until now, drafts have been classified to keep it clandestine, not only during the negotiations, but as also for the 5-year post-enactment. So this is so freaking sinister, okay? So they have a trade agreement. This is complete deregulation. This is a new by stealth TPP that is moving forward. Just Google it. It's called TISA, Trade in Services Agreement. Basically, the secret draft of this agreement that we can't see, it's about negotiating to have basically deregulation between countries, all of these 68, and after it's instituted, the secrecy has to continue for 5 more years. So even after your government has agreed to a secret agreement and this new regulatory body, they call it the Draft Financial Services Annex, It's going to establish rules favorable to the expansion of financial multinationals and other nations in order to prevent regulatory obstacles. So you're going to hear a lot of people talking about this as being, the free market, and this is a way to empower and end poverty. It is huge, and almost nobody's talking about it. I only know about it because I actually follow WikiLeaks. I actually follow their RSSs. I look at a lot of news daily. It's part of my daily livelihood, really, to do that. And so only people like you and I and the Doomers out there really get the inside track to this.
Yeah. What is the and I did see that, but I was wondering, did you happen to see the timeline as far as implementation? What was the grandiose goal here? Because I always think these follow or are more easily implemented on the heels of some kind of devastating crisis,
or a huge spectacle like maybe the FIFA World Cup.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's always stuff that's done under the cover of globalization during these international meetings. This is a worldly event, and you have a complete blackout on the protests and the actual people on the ground that are trying to hold their government accountable for wasting and spending billions of dollars to build this whole. I forget. I was looking at how many people. I think it was over 1,200 people were displaced. Their homes were taken away just so they could have this stadium. And that's probably. I'm trying to underplay the number here, but I was just looking into that, and of course, they're.
Yeah. What did they spend? They spent. It was upwards of. It was billions of dollars to host this thing.
Yeah, I mean, and so the taxpayers are paying for it, and we saw in Brazil, you have a well-educated populace that is pretty upset about the condition of the schools, public transit. They're seeing the raw deal of socialism, I think, but I think you're also seeing the people that are empowering themselves to the tune of millions of people uniting to tell the government, you're going to do what we want you to do, or we are going to remove you. And if that happens and has to happen in a physical manner, then that is what has to happen.
Maybe we need that message. I mean, maybe we should take some inspiration from this.
Yeah, well, here in the land of milk and honey, come on.
Honey milk. You know what else TISA stands for? The International Cat Association. That's if you Google just TISA, that's what you get. International
Cat Association. That doesn't make sense. It's TISA. Where's the C? Where's the cat?
I don't know. I popped it up. I typed in the wrong number here.
Damn you, Google. See, one more reason I hate Google. Did you hear about those Dutch hackers that have now hacked Google Glass? It's been hacked, and now they can record everything that you're looking at. I've got a young son. He's just now over 4 months old, and one of the few times I think, man, this would be a great thing to have, Google Glass and be able to record is when I'm looking at him and playing with him, and
right.
Catching all of those smiles when he's looking at you, and
sure,
and those kind of things, and
not so much now.
No, well, never really. I mean, you just kind of entertain the idea. It's like the Internet of Things and all the new wearable devices. I don't need Google or some other central service, Facebook, knowing what my blood pressure is and relaying that to Humana, to my Obamacare plan. I don't need that. I don't need all these statistics and graphs to figure out if I'm gaining or losing from my workouts, if I'm eating too many calories. I don't need my refrigerator to tell me when my salmon's going bad. Although that some of these things could be very convenient and handy and maybe eliminate waste. And it's not that I'm absolutely against using tools. I'm not like some Luddite. I won't do it. I bang hammer, only hammer, no nail gun. I'm all for technology, but
what's gotten into you today? You goofy caveman.
I don't like technology. The Google Glass is looking at me.
I feel like that sometimes. I feel like I'm that guy. I'm fighting that all the time.
that's coming.
I was joking with my wife. We went walking, and I said, I feel like I've gone undercover under the cloak. I've left the phone at home. I'm off the grid.
I think you have to.
They think I'm at home.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if you don't do that once in a while, then you will go, completely bonkers.
I got to keep them on their toes. See, they think they think that they know what I'm doing, but do they? Every once in a while. So
I guarantee you they do.
That's even better. See, they think.
I'm telling you right now, and as we wrap up, and I'm going to give you this opportunity. That next week you might be able to play the Crow thing, but tomorrow, Friday, the 27th, all eyes on Ukraine. I know it's not in the headlines of the establishment. We're going to talk about ISIS and all that other good stuff or immigration, but keep your eye on Ukraine because I believe tomorrow is going to be a very, very, very bad day for the people of Ukraine.
Central banker would not be denied.
That is their plan. Did we thank everybody? We got DK, yes.
Yep.
And Alfred S. Yes. Thank you very kind.
Alfred, give me those names too. I need to put them into the blog post and properly. I've got a note here. Let's see. Do I have any other notes? Yeah, we talked about that.
I want to thank producer Craig for all his hard work.
As always, yeah. I mean, he's a trooper, very instrumental to this operation. What we do. We need more support, though. We absolutely do. We dedicate a lot of time to the analysis and not just doing the podcast and rambling on for a few hours, but all of the post and pre-production that go into this show. It allows us more time and more flexibility. That's why we're not corporate sponsored. Something that we believe in, and we hope you do as well. You're not the product. Doomcast is the product. This show is the product. Charlie McGrath and Doug Owen are the product. You're not the product. Your time is not for sale to some corporate advertiser, and that's why it is special. It's different, and it's.
I like that. I like that little mantra you got there because that is. I never thought of it that way.
A little mantra over there. I like how you're doing that.
I like that. It's very apropos.
It's very, very.
Oh, my name is Charlie McGrath. My website is wideawakenews.com. My friend, my co-founder is Doug Owen. It is blacklistednews.com. If you want to contact me, info@wideawakenews.com. If you want to contact Doug at blacklistednews.com. We will be back next week with Doomcast number 48. We're almost to the big 50.
I know. It's almost been a year, but we're still here doing it. Thank you all for participating, being part of the show, and we look forward to doing it again. Take care.
See you next week.